Hi, I'm J.J. Zink, and I'm the writer of Tardy.
I'm Benji Wachtman, and I'm the director of Tardy. And today, we're going to be breaking down the film for you. So my main inspiration for actually making a one-shot in the first place was after I saw 1917. I loved the overall movie, but particularly the technical aspects of it, how smooth the camera was, all the hidden cuts they had, I was super impressed by, and I wanted to try that out for myself.
And then my personal inspiration for this project was actually the film Birdman. I really liked how it sort of used like its camera to come up with very unique shots on how where it would cut and everything. Also, the film was very much very stressful throughout, so I kind of wanted to bring a similar vibe to this film.
Let's talk about this shot for a second. As you can see on the clock, it's 10:24, and the alarm is set for 7. So our high schooler has slept in a significant amount. We have lots of clutter here, as you can see, to denote how messy of a person he is and careless.
No. Ugh. One of the bigger parts of this one shot was the music, and the pre-production phase, we really wanted to nail that sound correctly, and we ended up opting for a jazz drum soundtrack. And we kind of thought that the drums could sort of be almost kind of anxiety inducing throughout the film. Our composer throughout this was a good friend of mine, Charlie Reinhardt. He was really good at taking sort of the vibe of this entire film and kind of translating it into his soundtrack that he created for us. And then if we fast forward throughout this scene, we actually use a dip to black transition here. And even though it is probably one of the more noticeable cuts throughout our entire film, it's actually a commonly used industry thing. For example, in Birdman, they would use multiple times a dip to black to transition outside or whatever. So that was kind of our main inspiration for using that type of editing technique.
So this doorway shot here was actually very intentional. When me and JJ went to our shoot location, we noticed this hallway lighting. We really liked how our actor had his silhouette against the bathroom lighting, and we really wanted to capture that. And so our cinematographer, John Fashion, did a great job of framing that up nicely.
So this is actually my favorite part of the one shot because when it came to planning, we really wanted to have a shot that could almost seem impossible, with a real camera. So we kind of did this almost trickery where we give off the illusion that the camera went through a window.
Also, if you go back a little bit, if you get really nitpicky, you can notice that the window that we handed the camera off through is actually left open.
Thank you so much.
So this shot actually was the hardest shot that we did in the entire film. One of the most difficult parts of it was making sure lighting would fit with the first day, and the next thing that was really hard was kind of the amount of cars. So actually, right behind us when we were recording this, there was a full intersection of cars. So really working around those vehicles was really difficult.
Josh, are you okay? Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Here, need help? Here's your bike. No, I gotta get the class.
This is our last shoot day, probably our longest take in the whole movie. this is a new cut. So the whip from Kai riding out of frame to this crash right here is a whole new take. He did not actually get run over by a car, if you were worried.
This particular part of this shot was a little taxing on our cinematographer John, because Kai was running at full pace, and so John, holding the camera, had to also keep up pace with him.
Also, when Kai is running across the field here, John is running this way, and then he actually has to go all the way around Kai. So John's running at a very fast pace because he has to outpace Kai to get around him to get this next angle. So that was really difficult.
But it came out very good. So it kind of the camera has a little bit of shakiness here, but in a way that kind of adds to the feeling of uneasiness, like the anxiety that Kai has because he's got to get to school, so almost the camera kind of emphasizes that feeling that he has.
For the credits, I was inspired by classic 80s movies, particularly with the text and the way the credits roll past a scene happening. John had the camera locked on my car and Kai leaving, and JJ just improvised putting the bike back in the trunk of my car, and we just went with that, and it worked out perfectly. And then it adds some interest to the credits.
So this is the final shot of our one shot, and what was really cool about this was it was actually improvised by our cinematographer John, who he just, after Kai left off the screen and I was still struggling to get the bike in the car, he panned downward to see the sign and get a good view of it before we ended the film. And I actually designed the sign myself, and I kind of tried to go for sort of a look that almost like a teacher would have made it. So I went for kind of, childish, sort of just fun font. And then there was also the Santa to kind of indicate that it's on Christmas. And actually the Christmas theme was not planned from the beginning. We actually were going to make this a Thanksgiving film, but planning and everything set it back, and we just thought, why not make it a Christmas movie, because it was going to release in time for Christmas.
So that was a breakdown of our film, Tardy. If you want to see the whole thing, there will be a link in the description, so you can click that and go check it out. We hope you enjoyed, and have a nice day.